Hey guys. So, I am not sure of everything that is going on with the Youngstown City School um, and the teacher strike, but I am trying to understand why the Youngstown City School teachers can't get what they're demanding. I just don't understand. Coming from that town and that being my hometown, there was a lot of options for gangs, for drugs, for any type of criminal element to happen. Those were the options for me and some of my peers. But because of the teachers that we have in Youngstown, I was deterred from that path. I started off on a really tough path. And a lot of people don't even understand that Youngstown City Schools teachers are parents, they are aunts, they are uncles, they are cousins, they're brothers and sisters. They have children who go to Youngstown City Schools and surrounding school districts in Youngstown. These are the people who are helping save children like me. I'm not a child, but I was a child once upon a time ago. They are the teachers who help get your kids interested in science and math and engineering and all the STEM things that's going on. I'm just not understanding why we don't find it important to support our teachers right now. You guys got to understand that Youngstown can be a thriving town again, right? Youngstown can be a thriving little city like it used to be if the children who graduate and the children who get their education, they stay there and help make that city better. But if the children feel like their only options that they have is crime and the teachers can't stay because they either can't afford to live in the town anymore or safer areas or just get the support that they need, because I don't know the details behind some of these teachers going on strike. I know some of it is they don't want to be virtual because virtual it's not good for kids. Going back to school virtually is not going to be good for the children because I know it's not going to be full virtual, but they miss out on so much. They miss out on having that one-on-one with the teachers and asking for help. Not everybody are able to learn via online. Some people are hands-on learners. Some people are visual, so everyone has a different learning style. And if that child is a visual learner or a hands-on learner, someone is going to get left behind, so we got to think about it like that. But it's just like, if we're trying to get Youngstown to be a thriving city again, shouldn't we put all of our efforts and resources into education? Like, I tell people this all the time. Like, you see over in Asia, over in Spain, they pushing education. They're pushing education because education is the key. Everyone always be saying, America is so great, America is this and this and that. People don't understand. We're not even number one in education. We're not. And that's because these kids aren't getting what they need because the teachers are going in there unequipped. You don't send soldiers into battle without being fully armored. So why are we going to send our teachers to go teach without being fully armored, without having the resources that they need? You know how many teachers have to go into their pockets and buy stuff for their classes, buy stuff for their students, and we can't support them? Like, that's crazy to me. I think if kids really felt that education was an option for them, they would stay in school. And a lot of these teachers are helping keeping that gap between that child who is almost on the brink of joining a gang, pulling them into school and keeping them into school. I know a couple of teachers who were just on my case, like always on my case. And I've been like, girl, mind your business. Why you worry about what I'm doing? Because they truly care about the children. Granted, we have some teachers who are messed up, but we have a whole lot more teachers who actually give it down. And this isn't just a job for them. So it's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why everything is always about big business. You have all these superintendents. You have all of these board members, who get into education, join the Board of Education, all this stuff. and they come in there talking all that rah-rah, like, oh yeah, we're going to make sure we push these kids. We're going to make sure testing scores are up. We're going to make sure this and this and that. But once they get into that position, they forget they came into office to serve the people and to serve the kids. When it comes to the education system, I don't understand why it's always such a struggle and always such a pull. Like, education should be so important. We should have so many engineers out here. We should have so many nurses, so many doctors. And let's talk about doctors. People don't understand that we're lacking doctors. We have a lot of nurses, and we still need more nurses, but we're lacking doctors. Let these children get the education that they need so that they'll feel confident going into the real world, where they know that they can apply to be they can go to school to be a doctor. These aren't the things that we really push. We say these things, but do we really mean them? You know, that's where I'm at. Like, do we really mean the stuff we're saying? Because if we did, then we'd know supporting our teachers, hearing them out, and seeing what works for them. These teachers are the first responders of the education system. That's what they are. They're the first responders of the education system. So they know firsthand how these children learn. They know firsthand what they need. They know firsthand what doesn't work for them. So a bunch of people who probably taught in school in 1981 or in 1970, whatever, or the 1800s, God forgive me because I'm being smart right now. Times has changed. The model probably doesn't work the same. So here with these teachers who are in the mix right now, hear them. They know what they're talking about. You know, I see my one teacher, Mr. Ryan Walcott, he's on here advocating, he's on here pushing. I seen someone talk about Miss Taylor. It is just, yeah, right, it is. Miss Taylor from Wilson. Mr. Walcott was the one who pushed me into science. I never forget the first science experiment that we had. He told us all to get a shoebox. We had a shoebox, right? We brought a shoebox from home. He said, get a piece of bread. He brought some loaves of bread in. And he said, I want you guys, and remember, y'all, I'm going to give y'all my real age. I am 38 years old, okay? I'm 38 years old. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember this like it was yesterday because that's how important that science experiment for me was. He said, put the bread in the box. I want you guys to make the bread a little bit moist. We got the bread a little bit moist. He says, now I want you guys to pick a spot in the classroom that you guys want to put the box at. So I said, Mr. Walcott, I want to put it in your desk drawer. He says, okay, fine. He let us put it in in his desk drawer. Some people left it out on their desk. Some people left it out in another spot. I remember I think it was a few days later, we came back into the classroom. He says, okay, now go get your boxes and open your boxes up and let's see what happened. So we opened up our boxes and there was mold on the bread. And me being in like 4th grade, I'm like, oh my God, look at this. And he says, do you understand? Well, everybody, we all had to look at each other's bread. Our bread was the moldiest. He said, do you understand why your bread was the moldiest? I said, because we put it in a dark space. He says, yes, that's right. You put it in a dark space. So when you put it in a dark space and it has moisture, mold is going to grow more, rapidly. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, I want to be a scientist. No cap. And since that day, I have always focused on science. I scored at the top of my classes in science. I've always maintained an A in all my science classes. My social studies classes too, thanks to Miss Ganassis. I'm telling you, history has always been my thing because of teachers. My teachers made learning so wonderful. So it was just like learning about the Egyptians, King Hut and all that, King Hut, Lord, all of them. That stuff was so amazing to me, and I kept that in my heart when I grew up, and I always wanted to learn more about it. And now I'm passing that down to my children. That is why it is so important to give these teachers what they need, because look at me, I'm a 38-year-old woman. I have been pursuing a career in science, healthcare. That's been my path. I dropped out of school, y'all. I really dropped out of school. I went to go get my GED. Y'all know what I did? I scored and the 99th percentile in science. I was so close to having the highest score. That's on my GD. That's how I end up getting. Excuse my grammar, y'all, because I'm when I talk and I get heated, I get a little foggy. Okay, but I realized right then and there that everything that my teachers taught me back in the day mattered, and that I needed to keep pursuing getting an education, because in that moment I realized knowledge was power. But if my teachers had given up on me, I don't know where I would be. And that's the truth. So I really, really don't understand why we're not supporting these teachers. It's so important. Like Miss Freeman, everybody remember Miss Freeman, Freeman Love. You had a teacher to even you all out. Mr. Walcott was the teacher who made you more inquisitive. Miss Freeman was the teacher who kept you in line. Miss Machuga, Lord Jesus, she was the teacher who kept you in line too. But also, she wasn't playing in that math class. Miss Glasses, she kept you in line, but when she seen that you had the hunger for education, that's when she started finding unique ways to help you learn so that you didn't act out. That's what I found my teachers doing for me. And anyone who knows me knows I was a troublemaker. Y'all all know I stayed suspended. I stayed in the principal's office. I stayed fighting. I stayed locked the fuck up. I did. I really did. But it was the teachers. I remember going into a group home. Never knew that the woman who worked in that group home, who always stayed on my case, Miss Taylor from Wilson, would end up being my teacher. And guess what? When I was in high school, where you supposed to be, Miss Gray? Get to where you supposed to be. She ain't play no games at all. And then I cannot remember her name. Oh my goodness. She was one of our social studies teachers at Wilson, and I can't remember her name. I don't know why I can't remember her name. But this woman, Kathy Gonzalez, Kathy, if you remember, she was our homeroom teacher. If you watching this live, please inbox me our homeroom teacher's name from Wilson when we was in the 9th grade, because I cannot remember her name. But that lady right there, everyone thought she was so mean. I thought she was so mean. And you know what? She found a way to get through to me. She found out that I love politics. Every morning when we came into class, she would have CNN playing on the TV. And I'd just be sitting there watching CNN, because I loved to watch the news when I was a kid. I loved the news. I don't know. I was a weirdo, y'all. I loved the news. And I remember she asked us, she was like, who is the Secretary of State? No one in the class knew but me. I'm like, Miss Condoleezza Rice. She's like, oh, you know that? You know that? I'm looking at her like, yeah, I ain't stupid. I'm just bad. And this is what she did. She says, okay, she challenged us. She said, I don't remember what it was, but we had a challenge. She says, if you guys do this paper and you guys get an A, I'm going to take you guys out to the Old Country Buffet. Man, I was like, what? Say less. I've always been a fat girl at heart, okay? Because I was about to go to the Old Country Buffet. And I don't mean the Golden Corral or Hometown Buffet. I mean when it was the Old Country Buffet out there in Boardman, honey. I'm like, all right, motivation. I remember me playing around in high school because I was always playing. And God forgive me because I don't remember my science teacher name. But my science teacher, she knew I was smart. But I just always was on the go, always playing, always skipping class. Coming to class doing nonsense. Roasting everybody. Y'all know, anybody who know me know I'll be flaming. Flaming everybody. And she said to me in front of the class, I bet you can't even maintain an A in this class. What? Say less. And then after I got the A, and I was the only person in the class with an A, I realized, yo, she used reverse psychology on me. I have came across so many teachers who just had that love. Granted, I had a few. And I'm going to tell you guys, a few. 2 teachers that I can name. Well, I can only remember one of their names. One was an English teacher, and that's why I'm horrible at English. I'm not even gonna lie, horrible with grammar and English, because that one teacher had given up on me and told me what, and I was trying, y'all. This time I was trying. It matters what a teacher believes in their children and what they're feeding into these kids, because it can make or break you. I had that one English teacher who told me I wouldn't be nothing in life. She told me, don't even show up to my class. I don't want you in here. Just because I told her, she didn't understand. I didn't get nothing she was teaching. So you know what I did? I didn't come to her class. That's why my dumb ass can't barely write or formulate a sentence. But that's on me, because I gave up. I had one teacher, Miss McGee. I'll never forget her. Cleveland School. She made me feel some type of way. But in that, I said, you know what? I'm going to prove this woman wrong. I'm going to prove this woman wrong. I'm not going to say what she said to me, but it wasn't really nice. It wasn't nice at all. But then I'll say karma's a summer gun, because anyone who went to Cleveland and Miss McGee was your teacher, y'all remember why Cleveland was shut down for a couple of days. But yes, teachers can make or break their students. My sister-in-law is a teacher. She is one of the best chemistry teachers there is. And it's so crazy because Youngstown City Schools are on strike right now. Because when I was in Ohio, she was showing me these videos of these children sitting here learning. And they was having like these debates. They was, I forget how it was set up, but they would read the book. And then they would kind of debate with each other why, the science behind it. There was debating the science behind it and why it made sense. And it was so cool. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching these young girls and these young boys, and they're so into it. They were so into what they were learning. And when you're into it and you're a teacher who makes strides and make things so creative, that information will be absorbed, and kids will remember that. And that's going to be something that they always use as their resource. When they go out into the world, they're going to remember, I remember Miss Kane Tiggs taught me this. I remember Mr. Walcott taught me this. I remember Miss Freeman taught me this. Because essentially, our teachers are our extended parents. They are. And they're needed. Because they the goats. Your child will not learn their ABCs, they 1, 2, 3s without your teachers. Even though a lot of us do teach our children how to read too, it's mostly the teachers nowadays who are fully hands-on, because a lot of parents can't be there checking homework all the time. The teachers are the ones, did you do your homework? Did you read this? We got to support them, because the teachers are our support system. If our support system fails, then we fail. I don't get why the Board of Education don't get this. Why the superintendents of Youngstown City Schools don't get this. If our support system fails, then our children fail. Our teachers are our support system. They support the parents. They support the kids. Just do right by them. Education should never be the thing that suffers. Education shouldn't. We have all these doggone sports centers, all these doggone sporting events. Y'all put more money into the sports program than the dang on education. And then when the young man or the young female is done with their sports program and they can't read or write, y'all trying to figure out why. Y'all blaming the teachers. No, y'all didn't give the teachers leeway to teach this child. Y'all was letting this child pass on by because they were y'all dancing act. They was putting butts in the seats and money in y'all pockets. That's just like that young man, that story out of Ohio, somewhere in Ohio, where the young man falsified his transcripts to get into college so he could play football. And they charged him for that. Y'all charging that young man for doing what that's all he knows is football, because the people bypassed the education. They obviously, the teachers was telling them that this boy did not need to be playing sports, but they let him play sports anyway. And then guess what? When it was time for him to graduate, they graduated him. When it was time for him to go to college, colleges didn't want him because his grades wasn't good. But if y'all would have been the support of the teachers, y'all could have been the support of that young man, and the young man would have got into college too. He wouldn't have just not had bad grades. He would have had good grades and still been able to play ball. Not all children who play football can't read or write or do any of that. That's not true. I'm not saying that. But I'm speaking to the stories that we hear more often to none. And then this young man Now his future's gone because the superintendents and the people on the Board of Education rather see these students succeed in sports rather than see them succeed in the classroom. Sports should never come before education. Never. And I want parents to get to the point where we stop looking at our kids as opportunity. It is not your time to shine through your child. Granted, sports is great for kids. Don't get me twisted. If your child is out there playing football, he or she is doing her thing, more power to them. Let's support that. But let's not put that at the main front and say, no, we're just going to keep pushing them just to be great in one thing. Nope, let's push these kids to be great in everything. And people begin on my case. So my kids, they say I get on their nerves. Mom, you always trying to push us so hard. And I just push my kids because I want them to know that, listen, you got all type of avenues to explore. You got options. Let these teachers show these kids they got options. And sports is not just one option. It is a great opportunity. It is a great option. But sports ain't just the only option they got. It's not. But I'm not going to sit here and rant for no hour. I was just sitting here and I'm just reading these posts. And I'm seeing these passionate teachers posting about their kids and how they care about their kids. And a lot of those teachers I'm seeing posting are my old teachers. And I know for a fact that this person really got the love of the kids and really love the kids. So I'm going to speak to that. Because I don't know many people who've had the same teachers as me say that teacher was a horrible teacher. Not Mr. Ron Walcott. Mr. Ron Walcott and many others like him, and my sister-in-law, Miss Kane, Tracy Kane Tiggs, are amazing teachers. They got these kids inspired. So like I said, let's support our support system, because once our kids can't be great, we can't be great. We can't be great at all. Not at all. But peace, love, and happiness to everybody.